Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and today we're going to be discussing all the books I'd like to read in May. Now, if you are familiar with my TBR videos, you might be noticing something that's missing, and it's my wheel. I have decided for the next few months I will not be spinning my TBR wheel to determine my TBR. As I've been trying to get back into the flow of creating and being more consistent with my uploads, the thing that has been chafing and really getting in my way the most is editing. I never really enjoyed it, but for whatever reason, recently I've absolutely hated it. And my TBRs are the ones that take the absolute longest. The amount of splicing, moving things, putting things together, I can't do it currently, and I kind of had an epiphany sometime early on in April. That is one of the things that's been like driving me crazy. Not to mention actually filming them takes like over an hour. So I decided, I think for the next 2-3 months to go without it. Only recently have I been thinking that each month I should try and do my TBR in a different way and see what works for me, because I actually tend to do very well with having a set list of things that I have to read, and it actually it helps with the momentum of me getting through things, because I as an individual can get so inundated with choice like that I just can't make a decision, so it's hard for me to pick up my next read. But if I have books I have to read, life is very much easier. So this month anyway, long story short, I'm just going to be listing the books I would like to get to. These are not all the books I want to get to. I'd like to read more, but the ones that I have set decent plans in my mind to read. I won't like do any punishments if I don't get to them, but I need, I think, a little bit of a guide to get through things, and we're just going to see the results, see if anything changes, and make my life a bit easier with having to do way less editing. The first thing, and one book I know I will absolutely be reading in the month of May, is Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse. I just did my reread of Black Sun, which is the first book in this trilogy, and loved it the second time around, and I'm just very, very excited, albeit nervous, to give this one a go. Black Sun is the first book in a fantasy trilogy inspired by the pre-Columbian Americas. You follow a sun priest desperately clinging to power, a sort of like wastrel pirate, a son of a matriarch who's now thrust into some turmoil, and last but not least, a possible sun god / vessel for a god. And their paths are slowly starting to entwine in the first book, and this is going to pick up from there. I adored Black Sun when I read it. I think I reviewed it when I first read it, which I can't even remember when that was. I'm nervous to get to this. A good reason is this is like 100 pages shorter than the first book. The first book was like 450 pages, and this is 380, and I don't know if it's just my like weird fantasy brain that's like, sequel? What do you mean? It's shorter. This seems odd, and yeah, I'm a little nervous. Another thing I am pretty much definitely hopefully going to read in May is Kakayi by Vaishnavi Patel. I don't have this yet. I was really excited for this already. I had pre-ordered it when there was a huge pre-order sale at Indigo, and then the publisher went and like granted my ARC request of it literally a week before it was set to come out. And again, because of the Magical Readathon, I wasn't able to squeeze it in before publication, but that's their fault for approving me literally a week before publication. I wanted to get to this anyway. This looks so cool. It is inspired by like Hindu mythology, and it is retelling of, I think, like a hated and very feared princess / queen, and you get her telling her story in the vein of Circe or Ariadne, and I'm very excited to give this a go. Another set thing I know I will be reading, because I just got it from my library, is Heartstopper Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. To be frank, I never thought I would actually read this book. I really never had interest in it. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it or are very soon going to be familiar with it because I think as of recording, the Netflix show dropped like last Friday and a lot of people have been talking about it. And I don't know, I guess the show did really pique my interest. I have heard that it is very sweet and soft. I don't know, I guess right now soft queer things sound very appealing to me. It's a graphic novel, which I don't know if I mentioned before. The last thing I'm so excited and definitely set on reading, like these 4 books I'm absolutely going to be reading in May, is Night of Cake and Puppets by Laini Taylor. This is book 2.5 in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, but really it doesn't actually really tie into the plot. It just follows 2 characters, some of like Karu's best friends, on their first date, and I have never read it, but as I am making my way through the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy again, for the first time in 6 years, I thought it was finally time to read this after finishing book 2, which I'm still currently listening to the audiobook, but I will be finished soon, and I can't wait to read it. I haven't read a new Laini Taylor since Muse of Nightmares. I've had this burning a hole in my shelf for years, and I also have her short story collection of like 3 different stories all surrounding, I think, first kisses, and I've never read them because I'm in perpetual fear that we're never going to get another Laini Taylor book, so I've just put it off for years. But this one I'm so happy to be reading and so excited to give it a shot. Now on to books that I'm not entirely certain I'm going to get to. One I'm really going to try, and I think I have the audiobook available to me, and that's The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. This is an adult science fiction book. I believe it's a standalone, and I believe it veers towards the literary side of sci-fi. But if I'm correct, this is set in the future where space travel is a lot more like common and developed, and we follow our main character who is an astronaut, and because of her voyage, her journey being so long in space, and because of, I guess, space reasons, she's still alive while everyone she has known in her real life has passed away. So when she returns, like she's really struggling with that. And then this like boy falls from the sky, and she kind of, I guess, takes him under her wing, and they have a very special bond. But because this boy is so mysterious, a lot of people are after him. I don't know. I think this could go either way, but I have high hopes that I really love it. So many people have given this like phenomenal reviews and ratings, so I hope I like it. I don't think I pitched it very well, but I think I'll go through Libby and see what is on the docket or what holds could be coming in soon. Apparently I have The Fires of Heaven available to me in less than 2 weeks, but who knows if I'm going to accept that, because that's book 5 in Wheel of Time, and I still feel like I need a break from the last book because it was so long. Does this tell me? Oh, this is 36-hour audiobook. I'm not sure I want to read that right now, but I also apparently have the Atlas 6 that might be available to me in the next 3 weeks. This one I am interested in because it, like, sheerly because of its popularity and the way it blew up. If you don't know, this was an indie published book that gained huge popularity and then picked up by Tor and traditionally published just this year. I'm a little nervous because it is a dark academia fantasy, and me and dark academia really haven't got along, either in fantasy or, I don't know if I've read a like traditional dark academia that's not fantasy, but as much as I want to appreciate the vibes, it never quite works for me, so I'm a little skeptical, a little nervous, but I'm going to give it a try. I think it follows like 5 different initiates who are all fighting for spots in this elite school or elite sect or something, and there are limited spots available. As I'm looking, I didn't even know this. It looks like this is a full cast audiobook, which is very intriguing and exciting, and Steve West, a narrator I love, is one of them. So, okay. Hopefully I enjoy it. Hopefully it lives up to the hype for me. Oh, I almost forgot to mention this, hoping to get to Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. However, my hold on the audiobook is saying I'm still like a solid 6 weeks away from getting it. So I'm hoping someone like delays their hold and bumps me up, because I would love to stay on track for the like Joe Abercrombie read along thing that I've been doing the past this year. A break was taken in April and starting up, I think, again with the standalone First Law books. So I'm very hopeful to read this. I have no idea what it's about. This is like absolutely zero, but it is the first of the standalones. I'm interested to see how Joe Abercrombie does a standalone, and I am more and more like just becoming a Joe Abercrombie stan the more I've read from him. So I really, really hope it comes in. This next one is a tentative pick. I'm not entirely 100% on whether or not I'm going to get to it, but we shall see. And yeah, I haven't read, actually that is a full lie. I was just about to say I haven't read Sanderson in a while, and I just read him in March. It's Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. Again, a fantasy standalone, or potentially to have a sequel, but currently sold as a standalone, and it is one of the Cosmere books of Sanderson I still have not gotten to. I desperately want to read like Stormlight and continue on with book 2, but because we are so far from book 5, which is supposed to be the completion of one full arc of Stormlight, I'm hesitant to start that. So I figure I will read the outstanding other Cosmere books that I'm missing, and then hopefully once we get a bit closer to Stormlight 5, I can finally pick it up. I'm so excited to give them a go. I know if I read them now, I'll have to reread them before that book comes out, and these suckers are long. It's also set in the Cosmere, and it follows 2 sisters, and one of them has to marry the God King. And if I'm not mistaken, the sisters actually switch places to like protect one another, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know. Apparently this one is Sanderson actually doing very well with romance, so we'll see how that works for me, because some of his romances have not worked for me in the past. Can I cough and say Vin and Elend, even though that is a highly unpopular opinion? I think I'm going to cut it off there. I think I mentioned 7 to 8 books, and I consistently read about 10 to 12, so giving myself a little bit of space and wiggle room, and even the possibility to not pick these up. I'm very interested to see how this sort of experiment goes, and who knows, maybe a change will actually help reinvigorate my want to edit, because again, it's like been such a weird like low mental block for me. Let me know down in the comments below your plans for reading in May. If you know of any fun events or readathons. One thing I'm so excited to not be having a set TBR is that if something pops up, like kind of spontaneously, I can choose to participate, as opposed to like trying to scramble and fit things in if a quick readathon or like read along crops up. So I'm very excited to give this a go and see what happens. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.